Hi, welcome to Moms Want to Know, a place where you can hang out and get all your questions answered about motherhood.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sofia Robirosa. I am the co-founder of Moms Want to Know and also a licensed marriage and family therapist in private practice here located in Plantation, Florida. The name of my practice is Infinite Therapeutic Services, and I'm a relationship and parenting expert.
Hi, and my name is Heather McMechan, and I'm the other co-founder of Moms Want to Know. I'm also a wife and a mom, and the founder of Local Mom Scoop, which is a destination website for moms where I share the scoop about fashion, food, kids, events, travel, health, and fitness.
Wow, that's a lot, right? I also am a mom. I have a 2-year-old, and I have been with my husband for about 7 years now. So here we are today.
So we decided to get together today because I've been getting inundated with questions on my website about, how self-care and, how do you take care of yourself and being a mom, and what do you do for you? And then also relationships, friendships, other mommy friends. Do you have that? Do you take care of yourself with friends and make those relationships? And then also just relationship advice, like having date nights out. And so I thought I'd get together today with Sofia and we'd talk a little bit about this because we thought moms wanted to know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's very interesting, the 3 types of questions you're getting, Heather, because all 3 are different kinds of relationships, right? Like the one with yourself, how to take care of yourself, mommy friends, like how to have friendships, and the 3rd one, romantic relationships with your spouse or your significant other. And it is a month of love, and that's why I'm pretty sure that's why you're getting all those questions with all those great posts that you always have about where to go and where to eat and all the last scoop on that. So the first one is very important, how to take care of yourself, because research shows really that if you are in a good place as a parent, as a mom, your kids benefit from that incredibly. And they did a very long-term study the conclusions came out last year, indicating that however many hours you are able to be with your kids, it's very important that you are in a good place when you are with them. If you're anxious, if you're resentful, if you're angry, if you're too worried about what's going on and you just feel like you need a minute to yourself, then go have that minute with yourself. It's very, very important. Basically, right, if your tank is empty, there's not much to give. And we are givers as moms, as women. But we just really need to make sure that that's in check.
Sure.
So how do you do that?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it. Of course, I usually put my family first, but I've tried to get better at it because I noticed when I do take care of myself, I get a chance to recharge as a mom. And I feel better, feel more grounded. I don't feel as overwhelmed with just everything. And so one of the things I do, I'm a spa girl and I love the spa. It just makes me happy. It's a place where I can go. And I don't think, don't feel overwhelmed by prices of spas. There are so many spas out there. I found day spas that have really inexpensive packages, especially this time of year with Valentine's Day. There could be something out there for you to try. So that's a place where I go, and maybe just for a couple hours. It doesn't have to be a long day. I'd rather have more hours. I feel like the more time I have, the more time I have to recharge. When it's just an hour and then I have to get right back into it, it doesn't really help me as much, but everybody's a little different.
Sure, yeah. So whichever is the way that you feel recharged, for Heather, it's the spa. For me, it's exercise. I really, even if I don't get to do it every day, but just moving really helps me. It helps me de-stress. It helps me decompress and focus on what's in front of me rather than all the other stressors of life. So it could be going to get a mani-pedi. It could be going to a movie by yourself, reading a good book, all different sorts of things that help you recharge. And it's just very important, though, to make the time for it. If it just sometimes won't happen unless you schedule it in your life.
Sure.
Just like you schedule an appointment to go to the dentist to make it happen, I think that sometimes as moms, you need to schedule it in.
Yeah.
It has to happen. And it's very easy to say, oh, no, this is more important or that is more important. And then something happens that becomes a priority because of your kids. But reschedule it and put it back in your schedule again.
Yeah,
right?
I have to coordinate my time. And I usually do it like a month out. I mean, I'll look at next month and say, okay, you know, it's like kids stuff, school stuff, this stuff, that stuff. And then I just say, hey, this one day, this one afternoon, you know, I just need some time for myself. And I just think that when you do that, it helps your kids thrive.
Absolutely.
And their relationships as well. And that's sort of like what we're talking about today is, you know, how are these 3 tips that we're going to talk about help your kids thrive in their own relationships?
Yeah, definitely. When you are taking care of yourself, then you're a happier mom. So therefore you will have a better relationship with your kids. But at the same time, you're showing your kids the importance of taking care of you. So they'll be able to prioritize themselves in life, throughout life. They will learn that it's okay to take time for yourself for something that is fun for you or relaxing or however you recharge. So it really, really empowers your kids to do better.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next tip we're on to was, let's see, we talked about self-care and taking care of yourself. And now it's about surrounding yourself with, I call the mommy tribe. You've got to have a group of moms or some moms or a mom that you can go to when you are out there with motherhood. I think as a new mom, that's where you realize you're in this and you're thinking, what happened? Like, this is something I wasn't even prepared for. No matter how many books, no how many things you read, you're just not prepared. And so you need to have those moms out there and create that tribe for yourself. It's really important as a new mom. And I did that for myself. I went to some mommy and me groups and went out there and found some groups to help me through those, you know, difficult times of not really knowing what I'm doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is no parenting book that will ever really prepare you to understand fully the demands of being a mom. It's the most wonderful thing that anybody can do. The love that one experiences is beyond imaginable. But at the same time, it can be a very stressful transition. 0 to 5 of your children's life is you're adapting to being responsible for a whole new little being, you know? So it's definitely helpful to have the mommy tribe group, as Heather calls it. I love that. Just having a group of friends that you can call, text, ask questions, and even support one another. Because I remember clearly, even though I have been doing parenting stuff way before I become a mom, having a friend or a couple of friends that would come visit me when I was in maternity leave, or I was able to ask some questions and even figure out, like, is this all, I just needed to hear from some other person, like, this is all normal and it will be okay and it will get easier. Even though I knew that as a professional, just even hearing it mom to mom makes so much more of a difference. So that support is huge, I think. I would also say that it's important to also have friends that are not moms, maybe, or that they have kids that are older or even out of the home, because that can help you connect with other parts of yourself as a human being, you know, like the idea of, oh, you know, there's other things than just being a mom.
Sure. No, agreed. So I have I'm not a new mom anymore, but I have a 5 and an 8-year-old, and I do think it's important. I still have grown with different types of friends in the stages that I'm at. And one of the things I think is really important is to show your kids that you have friends and friendships. And I will say to my kids, you know, they're at that tough age, you know, they go through stages of missing mom. And it's like, no, I'm going out tonight. I'm celebrating a friend's birthday. And I just took you to a birthday party on Saturday. So it's my turn to celebrate, you know, with my friends. And they're kind of like, oh, like, mom has friends. I didn't know that. And it's good to show them, yes, you know, I'm going to go out with my friends and, you know, create those relationships. And so hopefully that's.
And it's awesome, because what Heather is doing with the way she's explaining it to her kids is that she's putting it in a way that they can understand. You know, they can understand, like, oh, you have friends, I have friends too. You know, you went to a birthday party, I'm going to one too. Or at other times I've heard Heather say, like, you get to play with your friends, I'm going to go play with my friends. That's all. Those are great ways to help your kids understand that what you're doing is just like what they're doing. So again, this is related to helping your children thrive with their relationships, because you're showing them how you maintain healthy relationships, how you go and celebrate friends on their birthdays, how you go play, whatever that means, going, getting your nails done with your friends, or having dinner, or whatever it is. It starts showing them what healthy friendship relationships look like. Very, very important. And again, kids learn more by example than by what you tell them. So they might have friends at school, but if they don't see you having friends, it's going to be harder for them to understand what you're trying to say. If they can see it live, it really, really makes a lot more sense to them. So that's one of the great benefits of having friends. So you don't have to feel guilty so much about spending time with your friends when you can help them make sense of it. Right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I just think, well, and it doesn't have to be the big birthday party. It can be, I have my girlfriends that I call during the tough time of day. Usually it's around dinner time. And, you're just like, how you doing? I haven't had a chance to talk to you today. So it can just be something as easy as a phone call, or grabbing a cup of coffee, or, inviting a girlfriend over. You get the kids to bed. We've done that before too, where it's not an expensive night out, but you get the kids to bed in one house. Dad takes over, I get the kids to bed in my house, and everybody just comes over and brings a bottle of wine and some appetizers. So surrounding yourself, I think, it recharges me. I just thrive off friendships, and it makes me, say, hey, gosh, I'm not in this alone. So when I'm going through something that I'm like, I've never tackled this before. And hey, like I always tell my friends, nobody gives you a manual. So hopefully.
Yeah. If you're an extrovert, you're going to, this is tied back to the first tip of making sure you give yourself some self-care. Heather is definitely an extrovert because she says she recharges from having moments with her friends. I am as well. I like to socialize, and that makes me feel recharged. So if you're this you can be killing two birds with one stone, so to speak. Going out with friends can be self-care, and at the same time getting support and showing your kids those two things at the same time simultaneously. Cool. For sure.
What if you're an introvert? Any ideas?
Well, if you're an introvert, you're probably like in the part of self-care, do something more by yourself, maybe reading, playing music, or doing some arts and crafts. More of a solitary kind of activity might be more of a way to recharge. Even meditating. The socializing, you'll still find it beneficial by getting support in that way. But you might, if you're really, really run down, you might prefer to do the alone activity rather than the socializing activity as a recharging tool. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
No, definitely. Great question. So the other question that you get a lot is about
relationships, date nights, where should I go? What can I do? And I have, I've tried to get better at it again. My husband and I I'm blessed. He's my best friend. But yes, we do have a tendency to put our kids first with everything. And we'll turn around and be like, gosh, we have not been out in like a month. I mean, it will just be on that hamster wheel that I call it. So I have a couple of amazing friends who they just have it in their calendar. They've coordinated it. Like the spa, coordinating it, and every Friday, every Saturday, either or every other, and they just make sure that they have that sitter and they have that time together. So it's good.
Just like we were talking about with the self-care, sometimes it just won't happen if you don't plan it. You have to coordinate it. You have to make it happen. But it's really, really important to do so. Listen to this statistic. It's a little scary. This researcher that has been looking into couples for 40 years now, he's still alive, which is really cool. I just met him too personally. He says that 2/3 of couples, about 70% of couples, after they have kids, they report dissatisfaction in their marriage. That is a lot of couples. So it makes sense in some ways because, before your kids come to this earth, you're just husband and wife, partners of life. But then your kids come around and you're adding a whole new role, being parents. And being parents demands a lot of your time and attention and energy. You know, sometimes I look at my husband after we put our daughter to sleep, and it's like, ugh, oh my God, I'm so tired. I can just go to sleep. You know, I'm so consumed.
I am too. I feel you. Yeah.
I never used to go to sleep so early before my daughter. Like sometimes it's 9:30 and I'm passed out. Like it never happened before, ever. So, you know, a lot. So we have to make it a priority that even if it is after our daughter goes to sleep and we're tired, to connect, to talk, to check in with each other. So it's very important to do so.
I agree. And you know, we've talked about this before, you know, turning the TV off. I find, you know, it's hard, especially, you know, we're talking about the date nights. It can get expensive. Babysitters are expensive. So you can stay in and do an inexpensive date night. But turning the TV off, I found, I mean, we've had a couple New Year's where we've stayed in, turned the TV off, put on music, and played board games, and like just, you know, and then we find ourselves laughing and talking, and it's just an inexpensive night, but we're just able to connect.
Absolutely.
And it's, you know, and it's hard, trust me. I mean, we're in a phase in our life right now where we have, you know, a 5-year-old missing us. So going back to bed, it can be, you know, really hard where you turn around and it's 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. And you're like, okay, now we're supposed to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's exhausting. Like you feel like you've been pulled in all these directions. Everybody's on you, and now you have to be with your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you sort of don't put the pressure on yourself and really coordinate that, really, if you can save up for the sitter and get out of the house sometimes too, I think that, I think it is better, honestly, if you can.
The day nights are great. It gives you an excuse to get out of the regular clothes and maybe dress up a little bit, you know, beautify yourself some more. That's what's cool about a day night.
Yeah.
You do something different, you know, it really feels like you're separating yourself from your kids, but doing the in-home thing, it's also very needed, you know, because even if you get to do the date every week, you know, why does it have to be just that one day a week? It could be regular evenings where you're having some fun, talking, drinking some wine, just connecting and having fun, you know? Like when you were dating, that's what you did.
Yeah.
You regularly, not only once a week, you saw each other. You saw each other several times a week, and you did several different activities, not only just going out, but also being in each other's apartments or whatever, right? And doing all that kind of stuff. So we have to try to emulate that and copy that again, even when the kids come around. And it does require some more effort, you know, because you are tired, you are doing 20 million things. But when we get, just like we were talking about fueling, putting something in the tank to give to your kids,
Mm-hmm.
the relationship with your spouse also needs putting some fuel in the tank, so that it's not all about checking off tasks of the list, you know, like taking the kids to school, taking them to their activities, taking them here, going to a grocery store, this, that, and whatever. That even if you have a spouse that is very helpful and does a lot of those things,
Mm-hmm.
it's exhausting because you're on the go. And then you go to sleep, and the only thing you talked about is going and getting things done. And did you remember this? And did you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then did you find out how your husband felt that day? Did he find out how you were feeling that day? You know, did you accomplish something that day? Did you struggle with something that day? Did you find out about something cool and interesting that day? You don't know. And then then months can go by. And with some couples that I've worked with, sometimes years have gone by that they haven't connected in those kinds of levels. So sometimes couples find themselves not knowing each other anymore.
That's crazy. No, and it's hard. It's a struggle. But I think if you can connect and you get that back together, because I call them peaks and valleys. And yes, we all know sometimes you look at each other and you're like, I hate you. And then sometimes you're making me crazy. And I'm sure my husband says that about me. Mm-hmm. And then there's some days where it's just like your peak, it's just everything is going great. And when I find out when we're on track together and we're totally connecting, we make better decisions. We make better parenting decisions. We're not yelling at each other, yelling at the kids, or, you know, frustrated, or, you know, let's get out the door. Why doesn't somebody have their shoes on? You know, the typical stuff. It's kind of like everything's just kind of flowing a little bit easier when we're on the same page. And I think that really is about connecting and having those conversations and finding out, you know, what's happening. I mean, I know guys don't love to talk all the time, but I think if you can shut that TV off and take 20 minutes to just reconnect, then you'll realize, hey,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be talking about feelings, and that's usually what guys don't
I
really
know.
like. But you know, you can always ask instead of feel.
Yeah.
Think. What do you think about X, Y, and Z?
That's a good one.
And how, you know, and even like, what did you accomplish today at work? You know, that you were excited about, or you feel proud about, or what's something that worried you today? And just even knowing regularly. I would say, and even research shows that knowing what your spouse is doing on a regular basis, you know, every night, babe, what's your day gonna look like tomorrow?
Okay.
And knowing, oh, this meeting, that meeting, or this project or that project, because that then you know where your spouse is worried about. You know, what are they worried about? What are they anxious about? What are they excited about? And then that can be part of the checking in on a daily basis throughout the day. You know, text messages help with that. Like, hey, how did that meeting go?
Okay.
You know, did you get that client? Did you, you know, what happened? And that keeps a connection going. You know, you don't disconnect. You don't know what's going on with your spouse. Where I've met some couples that from one day to the next, one spouse will come in and be like, I am done working as this person. Now I want to be, you know, say I was a marketing, and then the next day, oh, I want to be a police officer. And the spouse is like, what? Right? Like, how did that transition happen of you hating that profession to wanting now to be a police officer, right? So that was a lot of disconnection right there.
Okay.
So keeping these regular conversations going. So see, it's not only about a date night, but it's also about the daily connections, which helps with the appreciation. And I think that has a lot to do with what you were saying, that and we get less frustrated with one another, and we can make decisions better. The appreciation helps a lot with that, because then instead of seeing something as a flaw in your partner, you start looking at some things as positives. It really helps to connect with the positives. Less blaming.
Yeah, less blaming.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
So our kids get a lot out of seeing us in healthy romantic relationships, right? Because not only gives them a safe sense in their lives, you know, a safe haven. Home is a safe haven, you know, because they don't see you arguing that much and things like that. But it also really helps them understand what a healthy relationship is with a significant other.
Okay.
So, you know, all in all, I think what we're talking about today, Heather, is to realize that and to really, really appreciate the fact that parenting is not only what we do as moms with our kids, right? Like directly. But parenting is also a lot about what we do in our personal lives, because that can become the example for them to follow.
Okay.
And when we forget about all those other parts, they also can miss out. Our kids can miss out on learning some valuable life lessons, you know?
True.
Yeah.
So what are you moms going to work on? What are we going to work on? We're going to work on self-care. Try to do something for yourself today. You're going to work on, you know,
reconnecting.
Reconnecting, calling that friend, calling somebody up who's the right person that you need for that day, when whatever struggle you're going through, and make a date night, whether it's inside the house, preferably try to get out of that house. And, you know, these things will help you and help your kids thrive with their own relationships.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really have a lot of fun answering your questions. If you have any, are you curious about something, or you want us to talk about something in particular, please make sure to contact either one of us. You can connect with me through my website, infinitetherapeuticsservices.com, and my email is sofia@infinitetherapeuticsservices.com. And any mom that watched this webinar today can get a free 15-minute phone call consultation. So make sure, you know, to contact either one of us. Heather, what's your contact info?
Sure. You can get in touch with me at heather@localmomscoop.com. So if you have any questions about today or concerns, please contact me there. And you can also find more information at www.localmomscoop.com. And I'm on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest at localmomscoop.com.
Yeah, so make sure to check us out through our social media. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Google+. And we'll be checking in with you next month. Okay? Have a good month.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Happy Valentine's.
Bye.